Hey everyone, and welcome to the Infinite Respawn podcast. I'm Chicken.
I'm Oak Tree.
Grif.
I'm Baka.
What's up, guys?
So-
Look, everybody's here this week.
Yeah, we
Hey.
finally
I'm
found
not
him
a-
again.
I'm not a Pikachu or a skeleton pirate.
This
but
time.
Yeah,
I
we
did
had
like
to grow
the
a
skeleton
new
pirate
one.
one
The other one got chopped down, so we had to plant a new one.
Took 2 weeks to grow.
Mm-hmm.
He's like a
grow.
cheetah pet.
though.
So, what games have everybody been playing?
Oak. We all
Yeah,
have the same thing as usual.
I've got a long list, I guess, too. So, as everybody knows, I went to PAX West. Had a great time while I was there. Got to hang out with my friend Maldus. And while I was there, I got to play some Doom Eternal, which I was very excited about. And let me tell you now, everyone needs to take and see what Stadia did, so what Google did in order to streamline their entire system that they had set up, because they were able to push us out every 15 minutes. We had people, a set of 30 people that would go in and go out. They have a timer set. It's not set by the demo you're playing, it's set by you. How much can you get in 15 minutes is completely up to you as the gamer. And so it was quite nice because they were able to switch those people through. With Doom Eternal, it's just more Doom, blowing shit up, killing things. Some cool elements that they have on the super shotgun. They've added a grappling hook to it that's really, really fun. I thought it looked really cool when I was watching the preview for it when they originally showed it to us. It's so much more fun when you're playing it, because zooming towards something and blowing it up as you get to it is fantastic. But I got to play it. I got to play some indie games, some of which I talked to the developers for. Beyond Blue being one of those, which is it's basically just an ocean exploration game. Graphically, though, it's completely gorgeous, and it's great. They're currently working with actual scientists about each one of the animals and stuff that they're allowing you to explore, and they have 3-minute videos that you unlock as you play through the game that show you more information on each one of those animals, which I thought was really, really cool. And so those were really some cool elements in there. Then there's a game that I got to play a little bit of it, but I didn't get to play a whole lot. But I did watch a lot of it. And it was called Roller League. So think Rocket League, but this is like roller derby / I guess basketball is the best way to say it. So you've got the actual ring that goes around the outside, if you think of like how like a roller derby thing would go. But then you have on the sides, you have like these little goals or whatever to be able to score. So it was kind of cool because your character is, an actual person on roller skates. And so that was really neat. And then there's a game that I think is going to be so much fun. I think a lot of people are going to get into it. It's called Boomerang Fu. And Boomerang Fu is set up to where you have 4 characters that are food items, and you get to choose what your food item is. So it could be coffee, bacon, avocado, like different things, whatever. And you're throwing a boomerang, and everything's based on kills, not on wins. So you go through, let's say you had 2 kills, but you ended up, somebody else won the round. You actually won that round because you had the 2 kills. So it just keeps adding up until you get a certain amount of kills based on what you're playing. And each round is played in a different arena. So some might have traps you can hit with your boomerang, and that ends up killing somebody, whatever. And then you also get power-ups that happen. So those power-ups are kind of funny too, because some of them have to where wherever the boomerang goes has a fire that goes back behind it, so you can accidentally catch yourself on fire as well, which is hilarious to watch. But we were actually watching that in the arena. Like, it was so much fun to watch. I was like, I could actually sit there and watch people do this all day, just because it was just so much fun. And then there was a game that was really neat too. It's called Epic Tavern, and Epic Tavern was set up to where your job is to sit in a bar all day and drink and then you hire people to go out on quests for you while you sit in the bar and drink, and you hopefully have set up the right one, the right crew together so they're successful and they come back and bring you money, which I guess is more drinking money. So, which I thought was kind of neat. And it's kind of set in a fantasy world or whatever, and you just keep increasing the size of your tavern and making the tavern look better and all that in order to be able to recruit more people in order to be able to send them out on more quests. So
that one
That
seems
sounds
like
like
it's
a
similar to
mobile
like
game.
a Darkest Dungeon-esque game where you have your tavern, you build up recruits, and then you send them out to do missions and whatnot, and then you just build. So it's like
It also sounds like the side part. Like, it sounds like the war table from Dragon Age Inquisition.
the thought process behind it is because you have games like Football Manager and stuff like that to where you're not actually playing the soccer game. You're just the manager itself of the team. That's where they got the concept from.
What do you
So
do
they were
while you're
like, well,
waiting,
what-
though? Because that's why I said it sounds like a side thing, because it sounds like the war table, where it's like, okay, you can pick who's best suited to go on this mission. Do you want your forces, your spies, or your ambassadors? Okay, they'll be back in 15 hours. What do you do in those fucking 15 hours that you're waiting on them to come back?
Well, I mean, they're not gone that long. But I mean, you could set up several different people on different missions and stuff too. They said as it got more in depth, you had more people you could send out. So I guess you're just kind of recruiting as it goes. But it's fun. We enjoyed it. It's very micromanaging, but it's fun. It was kind of disappointing though. One of the things that I thought was interesting was the fact that Xbox was not there. You're in their backyard in Seattle.
And they're not there.
They weren't there. THQ Nordic wasn't there. And then I found out, this is the first time I heard of this, is Twitch is pulled out of every single conference except for their own.
TwitchCon.
So yeah, TwitchCon is the only one that they're going to be part of. And so it is a possibility that Amazon is trying to create an environment, like bring all the big dogs over there instead of them being at somewhere like PAX or E3 or whatever. Because they weren't even at E3. I didn't even know that. Twitch wasn't actually at E3. They didn't have like a booth and stuff like they normally do. And then like Mixers was 2 blocks down the road at E3. And on this one, it was like a third the size of what it was last year. So I'm like, you just bought Ninja and you're not promoting the shit out of this, especially if you knew Twitch wasn't going to be there.
yeah, like that would have been a perfect opportunity. That seems like a really bad business decision.
Yeah, I'm
Seems
not
like
really
a bad
sure.
business decision for Twitch too, because I mean, why would you only go to your own con when the idea is that you go to these things to reach people that you wouldn't have normally reached?
Well, I do know
Yeah.
there's several Mixer streamers that are thinking about going to TwitchCon just so they can see some of the, like, talk to some of the other companies that weren't at PAX or E3. So, I mean, I guess maybe that's kind of the point, is to try to recruit people back into your con somehow.
I guess.
But I did find it very interesting that they chose to do that. And there was a few others that weren't there. Like usually, Jinx is normally there. Like the gaming clothing company is usually there, and they weren't there. And I thought that was odd. But now Meta Threads, which is a newer company, was, and they sold out of their stuff pretty quick. So it's very, the dynamics changing a little bit there. But it was, overall it was a really good con, and played, some games that I enjoyed playing, and saw quite a bit of games that some of the things that they did I did not like. I didn't like the fact that they not sold ticket times, but you had to reserve a ticket time for certain games like Final Fantasy VII Remake, and Nintendo had some that you had to do that on too. And so it was kind of weird because Psychonauts 2, same thing. And so they'd have it blocked off to where you couldn't see the gameplay. And then, so you didn't get a chance to play it. You didn't have to wait in line for 3 hours either because, well, you had a ticket time that you could have just shown up to. But it was kind of poorly done, especially with the remake one, the Final Fantasy one, because they put everybody in a theater for 15 minutes and then they played a 15-minute demo afterwards. So, but they didn't have anybody playing the demo while people were watching the movie. And I'm like, this is the least Disney shit I've ever seen in my entire life. Because Disney, has everything set up. This is 15 minutes. This is 15 minutes. So you got this people playing this while these people are watching this. And you have maybe the 2 minutes in time. Now, like I said, the Stadia one was fantastic. Because they had 2 games that were there to show off their stuff. One was Doom, and the other one was Mortal Kombat 11. Of course, since Mortal Kombat's already out, a lot of people weren't playing that one, so they were just able to switch all their PCs based on numbers and fill them up to whatever game they needed. So, which I thought was a really good concept, and they were running them off these little laptops through the Stadia system. But it was, I got a few hiccups while I was playing that game, but for the most part, it was pretty good. And then, I think that's all on the game side of it, other than a few little indie games that was on there. 11-Bit had a few games that were really nice, which I love that company anyway. So those were pretty cool. And then since I've been back, I've gotten into Minecraft randomly as fuck. I know. But I'm enjoying it. Like, it's like, yeah, I got a few people in the community that wanted to play it, and you know, it's kind of a thing that people are going back to right now. I think the ongoing joke that we were talking about was you had everybody was trying to be the Fortnite killer, and then it's just almost like Minecraft coming back going, amateurs, let me show you how it's done. Let me come back from 2009, and then WoW's coming back going, let us show you how it's done too, you know.
Well,
So-
everybody's
Show you how to do
anticipating
MMOs.
Halo, so
You're right.
Yeah, Halo will definitely redominate. Well, I'm going to say the Master Chief Collection will redominate the FPS. Not Halo 5. I don't think Halo 5 will do that big of a splash, but it'll be good.
The Guardians part of it, I like their multiplayer on Halo 5 is really good, but
But
I don't
wait.
disagree with the other.
Never mind. I was thinking the next Halo coming out. I was like, wait, 5's already been out though. No, never mind.
yeah. Nice job, Baka. Way to.
Halo 4 has been
Keep
out.
up.
Halo 5 is, or Halo Infinite. Sorry, whatever.
Yeah, Halo
I think
Infinite.
that will be okay.
Yeah, that's like the
It depends on how this Master Chief Collection for PC does. Really, I think.
I'm gonna, like, if I had to make a choice, I'm definitely going to the Master Chief, because I know what I'm getting with that one, and then I'll wait for 5 to kind of see how it does, and maybe I'll either rent it or buy it. But I know what I'm
6.
getting with 5.
Yeah.
Is it 6? 6. Infinite,
Six.
whatever.
That's
Halo 6.
where I was getting confused. I was like, Infinite's the
Oh, that's
sixth
right.
one.
It's because 5 was so, no offense, 5 was so bad that I just kind of wiped
Five
it out
was
of my
very
memory.
forgettable.
Yeah, like, I mean, you're supposed to be... You should have either just committed to no Master Chief or made Master Chief the main character. You split your audience in, like, trying to make them care about a new
Well,
character.
and then your setup was 2 different medians too. Like it's like you had this whole, okay, forget what happened in 4. We're gonna wrap that up in a
Yes.
comic book,
Yeah.
and then on top of that, to introduce Locke, they made a television show about it, which actually was a really good television show. But I was like, really, this is how we get introduced to this character? It's just a very weird way of doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I've been playing Minecraft. I've not got a chance to play the Sea of Thieves update yet, which I'm excited about.
Damn it, I was going to ask you what the price of pets were.
The pets.
been trying to
if
find
you look
it.
at the article that we have about it, the pets cost 699 coins. And you can
many
buy the
coins?
coins at a 550 increment or at
Okay, cool.
1,000.
So they're less than $10?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
perfect, because I was calling for $10 for the pets and whatnot. They're cheaper than that? You got me. Because I've already got
Yep.
$10 on my Microsoft account. I've been waiting for pets.
So I haven't got a chance to play that yet, and I feel like there's something else I've been playing. Oh yeah, I've been playing Greedfall. Greedfall is so far really good. A lot of dialogue. So if you're a BioWare fan, right now I would tell you it's definitely worth it.
I've
It's
heard
very
that comparison.
interesting.
It's very similar to early BioWare games.
The only thing that I think is weird about it is because they give you so many side missions on the inside of like the town you start in that it takes like 3 hours to get through all that. And then you get on a boat, and right after you get on the boat, the first thing that pops up is the title screen. And I'm like, I've already been playing this game for 3 hours.
A lot of games do
couldn't-
that though, especially really heavy RPGs. You'll spend a lot of time in the tutorial area. Like really, honestly, with Dragon Age Inquisition, even.
Yeah, I was about to say,
that game really doesn't, like, the title screen for that game should come at about like 4 or 5 hours in before you even get to the title screen. They show it to you earlier. They're like, okay, here's your opening sequence, and then. But the tutorial area really is like 5 to 6 hours worth of content before you get to the meat of the game and it actually starts.
See, and it's just insane to me because like the way it's set up is like you got a friend that's missing that you have to find because he's going to be one of your companions. but it's weird because some of the stuff you're going off and running off and doing, it seems like something that would be a latter part of the game, not something that you would do at the beginning, because you have basically different factions and you're either doing something for that faction or something against that faction depending on who you choose to help out. Is the best way to say that without giving anything away. But it's one of those where it was just very time consuming, and I was like, this is kind of odd to have right at the beginning. But I guess you're right. You know, if it's one of those where you're gonna do that, I just wanted to get on the boat and go, which I guess you could have done too.
Yeah, I mean,
but at
with
the same
RPGs,
time,
usually you can. If you wanted to skip that shit, it's just one of those things where games like that intend for those choices, some of those choices, to have lasting implications. So, like, if you got straight on the boat, that may mean that you've locked out a companion for later in the game because you didn't go help them out or help somebody out that was an ally of theirs to tie them back into the story later and things like that.
right?
So, I mean, it's
right.
that really seems like one of those choose your own adventure kind of games where your choices do matter. So
Yeah, in this particular case, I know it's going to matter because, like, they'll tell you on the side, kind of like in Dragon Age, where it tells you that this person approves of you, but they tell you like a number. So it'll be like, because you finished this, they approve of you +3 or -1 if you
did that. But I think that
did it actually give you numbers? I think
in Origins, yeah, it did. You
Okay.
have a number approval, and you can actually see on your character, like when you're in the camp, you can scroll through everybody and see what your actual number of affinity is at with them. But after that, I think they scrapped it to just like hot and cold kind of things, and by the time you get to Inquisition, it's just people approve and disapprove, but you never know where you're at with them.
I like the Origin style where you can kind of see what where you can gauge where everybody's at and whatnot.
Yeah, because it changes. It changes how you game, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that you can kind of they didn't like that. I got to be careful.
Well, I feel like
gives
it
me
raises
3 negatives
the
on
stakes
them.
some too, because like in Inquisition, because I've been playing a little Inquisition. Almost everything that I do gets Vivian disapproval. Vivian disapproves. Vivian greatly disapproves. She never leaves though. She just doesn't like the things I do. Like, I don't know how much she doesn't like me.
Well, also I think that is just a style that they've kind of gone with to make the game easier, is you don't ever have to worry about your characters leaving, where I mean I think in Greedfall you can lose your characters. Like if your disapproval goes too low, they will leave your ass and be like, we ain't traveling together anymore. So that is like a constant fear you got to worry about.
There's another game that does that too, but I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a couple of them that do it. But I like that aspect where you've got to be conscientious about your choices in fear of losing your companions. But
yeah,
I mean,
well, I do too. Like the way this is set up, like they just introduced another character that she's native to the island that I ended up at, and they introduce her, and I love it because it'll tell you, like when you click on them, it'll say this person's suspicious of you, or this person, you know, is friends with you, or whatever it is, so you can kind of see where you're working with that person. Where they don't do that with some of the NPCs that you might have to work with in order to be able to further the plot. And that's what I think is interesting, because you do have those 3 factions, and I think depending on what you choose to do, depends on how that plot's going to go. So like you said, choose your own adventure type deal. It's kind of like
this D&D.
Person's a douchebag, this person's a douchebag, and this person's a douchebag. Which douche do I want to deal with? You know,
yes. Which one
is this person being a douche? Yeah. You know, do I trust this person because they seem like they're nice? I'm not really sure. Like these games make me so stressed because I'm like, I feel like they're giving me shit right now. Like, what is it or whatever? But I do the same thing that I do on a lot of those games. They're like, one of the things that I usually build up is charisma, so you can kind of affect how the conversation goes.
That's always a good idea in an RPG. If there's an option for charisma, boost that stat.
Yes,
do it
for sure.
That's one of the things I prioritize when I play Dragon Age Origins. I'm like, please let people like me. I need them to like me. I need to be able to persuade these people instead of just killing everyone indiscriminately. Thanks.
And graphically, the game is really pretty. There's a lot to loot, which I thought was really nice because, you know, sometimes you'll have stuff that'll drop from people that you've had to take out or whatever, but for the most part, it's just like barrels and chests and stuff like that. You'll pick it up and you really don't have to buy any type of gear or anything like that. You just kind of swap them around. And I chose a character that is that does magic. Like there's three different ones that you can choose.
I've heard that's one of the few areas that the game is lacking in is the character customization right out of the gate.
I've also heard the shops and whatnot are like it basically feels like copy paste. But I personally can kind of understand that too, because I mean you make a big ass game, you don't want to spend.
You're looking at a small company too.
Yeah,
like it's
exactly.
I just look at stuff like that because there's a couple other instances that's happened in. It's one of those things where it's like, well, maybe it's just a chain and they want you to feel familiar, like fast food, you know?
It's the Starbucks on every corner in the game.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like you can go to a McDonald's in your town or like 30 states away and it's going to be the exact same. It's just it breeds familiarity so that you come there. So I just look at it like that.
That's what I thought was funny too. There's a shop that's in the starting area that you're talking. If you go to the shop, you can talk to the guy or whatever and leave. And I get to the shop that's in the new town that I had to sell to, and I get there and the guy goes, "Welcome back, Your Majesty," and I'm like, "Really? Are you serious right now?" And I was like, I couldn't remember if they looked the same or not, or if it's just one of those. It was just kind of an NPC line that they've thrown in.
Like they have the storefront, and as soon as you open the door, it's like a dimension door, but it always takes you to the same shop with the same guy, no matter where you're at.
There you go.
It teleports you back out when you leave. So that's
it's just a fantasy world that does have stuff like that.
That's how he knew. That's all it is. That guy is probably one of the strongest magic users in the entire game, and you just think he's a merchant. Look what he's doing. He created a whole pocket dimension to sell you stuff out of.
Which would explain why he has like all the good shit.
Right? It makes total sense when you think about it like that.
He hoards it all.
That guy needs to be in your party. But unfortunately, if he was in your party, then somebody would have to watch his shop, and nobody else is that strong. So
there you have it. But it's a beautiful game. They've the most amazing thing to me, I think, is when I got off the boat. Like I thought the main town that they had before was nice, but when you get off the boat and you see where they've put you at and that town, just the way it's built, like the game design itself, it makes you want to explore. I think it reminds me of Assassin's Creed in that way, and the fact that you could go through and do it. And actually, I've got one of the people that watch me kept calling it Assassin's Creed because that's what it reminded them of. And I was like, I can kind of see it, but the gameplay is definitely not Assassin's Creed.
No, I've heard very much not that.
No. So in my case, it's magical stuff. So, and you just build and do what you got to do with the characters. But overall, pretty good. But that's all I got.
I'm leaving myself a note because I like the idea of the pocket thing for D&D future things. I'll make myself a note.
Okay.
Somebody else go.
I've played WoW this week. There's not much to it. I've made it to 32. We're grinding our way through the 30s, trying to get further along. But I mean, I've played a couple of ARMs in League, but other than that,
we played Friday the 13th on Friday the 13th.
Oh, that's right, we
Chicken's
did.
birthday.
We sure did.
Yes, that was absolutely fun, and we will definitely be doing that more often because that shit is just so much fun with 8 people.
Especially during October.
Yes.
I couldn't talk the whole time. I had no communication whatsoever.
My sister couldn't either. She couldn't.
It hurts my heart for things like that.
I think I told her, I realized closer to the end of the night that was working in her favor because she wasn't talking, and so like a lot of times people didn't know where she was at, and she could just like run around and hide way better than the rest of us.
See, that's what I kind of thought too, because on that very first one when I escaped, and then I escaped on I think the third game or something too, I was like, I think it's because I can't talk and nobody knows.
Oh, let me tell you, I was watching her because I was dead in one of them, and she had died already, and somebody called Tommy Jarvis, and she was the one that spawned back as him for whatever reason. She was him like 3 times that night. But she spawned up, and she was watching my screen, and I happened to look over, and she's standing there. I was like, oh, you respawned, go! So she runs down the hill, and Baka's in the car already. She runs down the hill, gets in the car, and they just drive off. Like, she didn't help nobody. Came back, and she just got straight in the car and left. All the while, Newbie's chasing the car, go, wait on me! Gets up to it, realizes it's a 2-door car, Baka's like, bye, and just leaves.
You bucked.
So Newbie got left twice?
Yeah.
Because I left him behind.
Yeah.
And then Baka's like trying to defend it. No, Bye. Sorry, we're being chased by a homicide maniac. I am going to leave your ass behind.
I think I only escaped once and just died the rest of the night.
I love it too because I was like, what'd you bring to the car? Not a damn thing. You'll get a seat.
I escaped once. I was with Baka, and he had the car battery, and he was gonna go put the battery in the car, and Chicken was the killer, and the cops had already been called. And so Baka and I are running, and Chicken shows up behind us, and Baka takes off one way. Chicken's chasing him, talking about his purse that was the battery. And I was like, okay, they went that way. I'm not going with them. I'll go this way. The bridge is right here, which means the cops will be here in 2 minutes. So for like a minute and a half, I just sat in the forest by myself going, nobody look at me. Nobody look at me. The cops showed up. I just walked down the bridge and left. I was like, nope.
Yeah, because I fucking teleported to the bridge and it put me through it in the water underneath. And you were like, I would have been there long before you got across that bridge, but because it put me in the water, I had to go all the way down the river and then all the way back up. And by the time I got back up there, I saw you running across the bridge and I'm like, really? Really? Fuck this.
Or the first game where you got stuck in the gravity mode.
Yeah.
I got stuck in that mode a few times. Like I tried to kill, like I killed 9 out of 8 people, and 2 people escaped because I killed Red 3 times. Yes, I killed Red 3 times. Eventually, when I got stuck in that mode, I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna go to the water, and maybe it'll reset my animation. So I did, and it reset. But when I did that, it reset Red to my position. So he instantly appeared in the water, and he's like, uh-oh. I was like, cool, easy kill. So I killed him in the water real quick. Damn.
That's funny.
It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that game. It's a little buggy. It is, but it's a lot of fun gameplay. Definitely enjoy it.
Because the first one's the one where I was so well hidden that I just waited out the clock.
Yes, you were the last one because I killed everybody but you. And I couldn't find you.
I was hidden under...
I did find you at the end, but the time ran out right as I found your ass. And I
was hidden under a cot and kept holding my breath. That was my strategy.
The first game, Chicken was the killer, and Foxy almost hid from him in like the Scooby-Dooest of ways because he was looking for her in house. He knew she was in there, and she's standing like in the corner behind the door that she had come in this one room, and he walks in and turns to the opposite direction. I was like, is he really not gonna see her right there? Oh my god. And I think that she turned her character model to look to see where he was at, and it made her step out from behind the door slightly and turn around. He's like, I gotcha. It's like, oh man, you could have hid behind the door and it would have been hilarious if he had walked away. That would have been so funny.
That's too funny. I love playing those games. I really wish we could get a game of Damned up and a game of Deceit up too.
Yeah.
Yes, Damned is 5, Deceit is 6. We don't have.
We need one with 7.
Well, we could play Friday the 13th with 7.
That's true. We did.
So at least we've got that.
Yeah.
Foxy had to leave early, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So, well, we'll see what we can do about playing that in the future, though. Spooky month is coming up.
Especially for Spooky month.
Yeah. You guys want to talk about some news stuff, or we have anything else to add to what we've been playing?
I don't know, you two?
We just talked about what we've been playing.
That and WoW, I think.
No. All right.
Level
the 3 of us have been together for like 3 weeks now.
Yeah.
I mean, there's like nothing we don't do together at this point.
Nothing but WoW. And a little Friday the 13th in there. Gotta mix it up every now and then.
Yes.
Now that we've got more people with it, we can definitely play it more often.
We will probably be playing another game that they talked about this week more often as a group as well. But with a lot less people because it's 4 players. Or maybe 5 if you can control the bad guy in the new Resident Evil game.
It is 5.
Is it? Okay, I didn't know if that was confirmed yet or not.
Yes, it is confirmed. It is a 4v1. We talked about it on last week's podcast, so I'll go ahead and ramble about this for a minute. But the Project Resistant Resident Evil spin-off game, which a lot of people are kind of mixed. They also self-hyped and then got disappointed because it's not an Outbreak.
Don't self-hype if you don't know anything about the game. Don't do that.
Yeah, and I understand why they're doing this, because there's such a period in between Resident Evil games, and they want to fill in that market with something, which this would be a good games as service game, a 4v1, kind of like Dead by Daylight. But apparently there is the 4 characters, which I'm sure they could add more later, and they have to get through 3 different stages, and the person who is in control is called the Mastermind, and he has to stop them. Now, he can place traps, lock doors, place zombies. Basically, he can do all sorts of shit to try to interrupt the group to pick them off.
This sounds a lot like that Nightmare game.
Well, actually, what I was going to say is it sounds a lot like Zombie U, where one person's trying to run around, and the other person's like, okay, let's throw some zombies here to go after.
It's like Dungeon Land. You remember when we played that? It's kind of like that.
Oh, yeah.
It's a little bit. It's a little mix of everything, which I can't wait to try. The beta, they're doing a closed beta, October 10th through the 13th, or somewhere around there, which will let people have a hands-on feel for it. It's for PS4 and Xbox right now. It's going to be PC too, but they're just doing the beta for those two.
Right.
And they've already acknowledged that this is more of an idea than it is a game right now.
Yeah, it's not a finished product by any means.
Yeah, they want to take all the feedback that people give them as they are making this and just kind of shape it into something that they can make and sell and hopefully support as time goes on, which I'm excited because I like this kind of game mode. It's a lot of fun. And I like Resident Evil because the RE engine is so good.
Mm-hmm. It's very pretty.
So we'll be watching this as this develops over the next several months, because I have a feeling they will do like either an early access style on Steam or a full launch, and I can definitely see it being like $40. I don't see this being a full 60, especially if they want to make it a service game.
I just hope they keep the Resident Evil feel of the survival horror aspect of it, and not just go, here's a bunch of weapons and ammo and just go shoot up shit. Go.
Nope, they've already said that it is going to be survival horror where ammo is extremely limited and you're going to have to rely more on melee and heavy team play because you have a healer, a tank, a hacker, and a support. I don't know what the last one was. Can't think
ranged?
of it right now.
It'd have to be ranged, right?
There's the melee guy, the tank guy, the healing chick, and the hacker chick. Those are the 4.
Yeah. There you go. Okay, so you've got those 3, and you have to play together because the healing lady is very vulnerable, so you kind of don't want to separate her too much. Also, one of the examples that they used is that if you run away, because the Mastermind has full control over the map. So if one person runs ahead to get in the elevator to wait, the Mastermind has control to where he can lock the elevator door and send you up before your team can get there. And now you are separated, cannot activate the elevator, and are now face-to-face with Mr. X by yourself. You fucked. You ran away from your team. Now the Mastermind has you right where he wants you.
So is the Mastermind sitting there with like a bunch of screens in front of him, and
Probably.
he has to...
Kind of, and he every room has a camera in it. And the lady can only hack the camera when it's active, and it has the red sight on it when it's active. And the Mastermind can control everything in that room from that camera. You can spawn zombies, spawn traps, lock doors. So if someone comes into a room to check it real quick, he can lock that door behind them and spawn a zombie, or have zombies spawned in there, and then lock the door as they walk in, and his team can't get to them. So you've got to be very cautious.
This is one of the few times that I'm super pumped to be the one person by themselves in this, because like I don't like to play the killer in Friday the 13th and things like that. I'm usually not great at that side of it because I'm more of a team player. I'm team-centric.
I don't know. I've played Damned with you before. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, so did I.
We hear giggling. She's around here somewhere.
You probably hear lots of giggling if I get to be the Mastermind. So, because that's
and you can control the zombies too. Like you can take control over the lickers, the zombies, Mr. X, and get in there and get dirty.
I'll tell you what this reminds me
shit out of the team.
What was the? It was the really bad. It was like Night Shift or whatever. It was the really bad game that they just redid for Switch. Night Trap. That's what it reminds me of, except like a modernized version of it with actual players versus just sitting there and trying to make the different stuff happen, right? Where you have remember you had the little zombie dudes that would come out and you had the traps to be able to push them through. That game was so bad.
So yeah, it's early. They're just playing with the idea to see how it works. I think it'll be kind of fun. I'm interested in it because I like Dead by Daylight, which I'm sure it'll go on sale. So if you don't own that, buy that. We can play that too. That's another 5-player game. A lot of fun. I'll stalk you around as Michael Myers and kill you.
Wow.
Because it's fun.
And for those of you that are upset about this Resident Evil game because you think they're doing this instead of RE3 or doing RE8, calm down. This is just an in-between. This is
they've already got
this is how they
process
plan to
working
pay
on
the
them.
bills while they're working on the rest of that stuff. So calm down.
Exactly,
It'll
which
be
I can
okay.
respect. Resident Evil needs some side games to kind of keep the franchise going, because if you just, it's like Resident Evil 8, 3 years later, Resident Evil 3, 3 years later, Resident Evil 9. It's like you gotta get some stuff filled in there.
You gotta give it
like
to them for
spin-offs and
this,
whatnot.
because usually most companies don't experiment like this in their in-between times. It's like, oh, okay, here's what our audience likes, so we're gonna keep making more of the same.
But I think that's the trend currently. I mean, you think of something like Titanfall. You have Apex that came out. You have with the Darksiders series.
Willing to experience
Darksiders series. You've got the top down one that they've got coming out for that
Genesis.
one as well, right? And now you've got this, and I think it's cool because you're building your universe up, and it allows for multiple replay because you've got those people that don't necessarily want to play your game, but they'll play this. Or they don't want to play this, but they'll play your main game.
Variety and whatnot.
Yeah,
right. So now you're broadening that out. Or maybe they've never played one of your games, but they play this and go, well, I'll try Resident Evil now. You know,
and then they come to like both sides of it.
Right. And so I think that's where I really like it from a business standpoint. I think they're doing a really cool thing, and I also from a marketing standpoint of their product that they've is a famous product. It's a way of rejuvenating that like and love for that.
Absolutely, I definitely understand that.
So I think it's a cool concept for sure.
Yeah. So I will be keeping my eyes open and ears open for this one, and so hopefully it'll come out soon-ish. At least come into open or early access so that I can start trying it out. There are very few franchises. Yeah, there are very few franchises that I'm kind of willing to dabble in, and I really think that Capcom wants to try to experiment as much with this new RE engine as they can, because they've really got a good engine, a solid built engine to build stuff with. So.
Yep.
Definitely.
What else we got? There's a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff. We're already
We
40
mentioned the
minutes
Sea of Thieves thing already a little bit. That the companion packs and all of that stuff are out, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep, it's all out.
So you can buy. The downside is, like, I'm looking forward to pets, or I was looking forward to pets too, but I want different pets, because right now it's the birds or the monkeys, and that's it. Those are your choices.
Which is fair. They were just trying to get them out, and I'm sure they're going to make some more. I want a kitty cat, so.
I don't want a cat.
I want them to
monkey.
let me catch one of the chickens and make it a pet. I want a chicken pet, really bad.
They'll probably make a chicken.
You have one of those in real life.
This chicken pet doesn't listen to me, so I want one that'll listen to me.
I'm excited about this. It was kind of interesting watching the announcement for it, because you had a lot of people in the chat that were mad because they were like, they never said there was. They always said there was never going to be any microtransactions. They never said that.
They said that at the beginning that they were supposed to be out 3 months after release.
Yep.
Right.
And they pushed it back a year and a half and some to make the game bigger, and then they released them. So I mean, if you're bitching about it, you shut the fuck up.
Right. You've got how many expansions and how much content added that you have not paid a dime for
free. Exactly.
Yeah.
So
if
they could shut the fuck
up.
up.
People that are saying they've never said, or they said they'd never be microtransactions, I want you to go back to the early press stuff and go and cite that to me. I need you to go and actually do some research and show me where they said that, because they never said it.
Exactly. It just like, it's so frustrating. I was like,
it's a conspiracy. They've covered it all up. All those articles are deleted.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah.
Pricing wise though, they're not. It's not too bad. It looks like the you got different emotes and stuff that you can get as well, which I think is kind of an interesting concept, because the other games have that. So you'll be able to do different types of emotes, but as well as the cosmetic stuff that you normally get in the game. So pretty cool. They also said, and I thought this was a pretty cool concept that they decided to do too. Some of those people that maybe, let's say you had like a hat or a shirt or something like that you got from doing something special in the game, but you didn't get the rest of the entire outfit, they're going to have available to where you can purchase that part of it, but it looks slightly different than the original version of it for the people that earned it. So therefore, you can finish the outfit, but it's going to have a little bit different color scheme or something to where you thought the outfit was cool, but maybe you weren't available to get it, whatever. You could buy it yourself, but people will be able to tell on boats whether they bought it or earned it, which I think is neat too.
Rare. Thank you for fucking listening. Rare just keeps doing it right. I don't know whether they've just got fucking... They can just read people's minds, and they're like, what's the best way we could do this? Okay, people want to buy the stuff that they can't get, but we got to make sure that we leave it so that the people who earned it still feel rewarded. Okay, let's color change it just a little bit.
They can read minds. It's called the forums online.
Hey. Speaking of such, there is also a certain game that does not have forums for their games.
Well done.
Well, apparently Borderlands 3 does not have, well, I guess I should say Epic Games Store, does not have forums or review systems or anything of that sort on their client.
Well, and we've known that. That's not a surprise. I don't know why anybody's surprised about that. The surprise is that people are not just going, because Gearbox has a forum for Borderlands 3 where you can come and talk about the game and apparently all of the bad stuff that's happening with it. But that's not where most people are going. They're going to the Steam page for Borderlands 2 to talk about it there, because that's where you go to discuss games. So
they have 2K's forums and whatnot, and a bunch. There's, I think, 4 other places that they can go, but there's no place, like if you bought it on Epic Game Store, you can't discuss it there. You've got to either go to Reddit or go to 2K or go to Steam. It's like, what the fuck, man?
Epic doesn't care either. I mean, how far are we into it, and they still don't have a shopping cart? So Epic doesn't give a single damn about it, and it's obvious. And yes, Borderlands 3 is having kind of a stutter step launch to it. I want to say rocky, but the numbers say otherwise, because the numbers are fine, just like I said they would be. Everybody said, I don't care about all of the bullshit. I want to play this fun game. Who cares who got stepped on to make it?
They would have been 1,000 times better if they wouldn't have been such a shitty reception beforehand, and it would have released on Steam. Because first of all, if these numbers are just, double of what Borderlands 2 was when it released, then they should have been triple or quadruple what Borderlands 2
if
released
it would have been on Steam, it would have.
Yeah, or had a better backstory, Randy Pitchford, shut the fuck up, stop talking.
Stop being dickheads to your voice actors, and to your employees in general. 2K, stop bullying YouTubers.
My question is this: if they paid for an exclusive to be on the Epic Store, right, or the Epic paid them to be on there exclusively,
okay,
how much of those numbers do you really believe?
I don't. I don't, because if you look at it, really, everything that Epic has had as an Epic Game Store release, exclusive, has done surprisingly well, and the numbers are way better than any other time in any franchise's history. So it's like...
And first of all, do they even have a player count on their system?
No.
But for us to see, because Steam's got one that you could just click on the game, and you get to see how many people are playing it in-game. Does Epic have that? Can we see that number, or do we just have to take it at face value and hope they're not lying? You just have to take it at what they said.
Yeah, and they're not the only ones saying it. Randy Pitchford's over here on Twitter talking about how great the game's doing. It's
but is that because Epic called him and said, "Oh, it's doing great," or is it because he actually can see numbers that are there? Because if they paid to have it on there, that means they're keeping a certain amount of a good amount of that money, because they've already paid up front for the certain amount of sales that were there. So they could say whatever they wanted to on it. And my thought process is that you have, when it comes to Steam, what Steam does really well is giving that information out, where Epic doesn't like to give that information out.
Steam is if I had an opinion, it's like OBS of the broadcasting world, where it's just kind of like, also towards their, put whatever game you want on there. We're going to curate to a minor degree. You got to be careful. Certain games are not allowed on there, which they have done before. Like, they will take a game down But for the most part, it's like community driven. You get to see access to everything. You get to see information for everything. It's pretty much on the community to police themselves. And they've got all the tools to do it too. And they keep upgrading the tools, as we've talked about over this year alone. So, and Epic has nothing. No reviews, no shopping carts, no forums. They just got cloud saves. I mean,
no games that aren't on their platform only. Like they
only
want it has to be exclusive.
They said that too. We were not looking at doing multi-platform, which they were supposed to come out trying to be another platform, an option for other people, but instead it's just they want to be the only option.
Yeah, they want to be what they said that they were trying to fight against, and that's hypocritical and stupid, but we knew that. It's not surprising. I also will say part of what plays into why these numbers are so big is how, honestly, it's streamer life and YouTubers. Because now more than ever, like, the market has gotten exponentially bigger every year, and those people feel pressured. If you've got an audience of one person that you're playing to, or you've got an audience of 15,000 that you play to on a regular basis, you are pressured to buy whatever is the newest game on the day of launch to try to get some eyes on your content. And so you've got a lot of people that are buying games that would, like, people that would never play a Borderlands game. Yeah, it's doing better than Borderlands 2 because streaming and YouTubing wasn't as big when Borderlands 2 launched as it is right now. So you're doubling and tripling your numbers based on people feeling like they have to play this game because it comes out right now, and that's what they think everybody wants to see, and so they're trying to use it for content creation to get some extra views. So,
and on that same note, Borderlands is as big as it is because of the YouTube and streaming to start with, because you had those people that grinded through Borderlands 2 and showed you what to do, or they had their entire channels were built off of it. Well, and some were destroyed because of that too, but their entire content was built off of that. So you had this entire community that just kept bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So it's largely generated from that format. And that's just what kills me about this, is because I'm sitting there looking at it going, you have, people that you've destroyed their entire livelihood.
And you've got, you're artificially inflating those numbers too, because you've got content creators that would never are willing to compromise, their stance on I'm not going to buy Epic Store exclusives to I have to, or else I might miss out on those numbers. So exactly. You've essentially put pressure on people to spend on your storefront with no reason, really. I mean, it's just...
I kind of look at big game releases like this as like a balloon. When it first comes out, it blows up pretty big, but then it depends on what happens afterwards to how much steam is let out. Like, I feel Borderlands is going to slip away a lot faster than Borderlands 2 did. Like, I'm sure the community will still be there, but I think it's probably going to die down pretty fast into Borderlands 2 territory, where Borderlands 2 might end up being about as many players as Borderlands 3.
That's what happened with pre-sequel. And I mean, I'm not saying the pre-sequel was super great or anything. It wasn't terrible as far as
especially if they don't fix all of the performance issues and whatnot, which, well, surprise, surprise, they didn't give any review copies out to anybody because
actually,
it's horribly
that's not
optimized.
True. They gave out review copies, but the review copies were old builds of the game. They were limited use old builds of certain areas, and then it was basically like, you can't talk about this, this, and this. And it's like, well, if I can't talk about these bugs, then what can I talk about?
They had to log into one specific Epic account, too, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, they were given an Epic Game Store's account that had an old build of the game that they could access to do the review stuff. They weren't given an actual up-to-date copy of the game to try out, because they would have said, hey, it's going to have problems. Because, it has problems. You can't play it in windowed borderless for PC because it tanks your frame rate and your performance. And it turns on VSync, which everybody who's a PC gamer knows VSync is pretty garbage and should probably just die in a fire. It's got frame rate drops anyway. Even in their performance mode, their optional performance thing, it still dips. It has frame stutters. There's connectivity issues with some parts of it that have been reported. Like, there's a lot of issues going on with this launch, and for it to have been a game that wasn't... Borderlands 2 didn't come out last year, and then they spent a year rushing to paste together Borderlands 3 and push it out. They've been working on this for years, and it's still this buggy on launch? Like, why? What's the reasoning for that?
Maybe because they could patch it later.
Exactly. That's where we're at. Everybody who bought the game day one is part of that culture. I mean, like, it's one of those things where we can't wait to see how it's going to go. We'll just buy it like the garbage it is, and then they'll patch it, and nobody's going to be concerned about it. It's just whatever. They patch it eventually.
I've done that. I've taken a risk with a couple of games like that, but it's because of it's always a certain franchise that I will. Like, I mean, Resident Evil 2, I wasn't like, I just jumped in because one, it's a Resident Evil game. Two, it was an unknown. We weren't entirely sure. Luckily, it paid off for me, and it turned out pretty well without any bugs or anything. But I mean, Capcom's got some pretty good quality control. But not only is this game that just came out have the same problem. Gears 5 came out last week, just came out and has the same problems.
It's not the same problems, but it does have problems as well.
It has optimization issues.
Yeah, they're having some optimization issues. They're having more connectivity problems than Borderlands is in the co-op campaign version. So yeah, I don't know whose side that's on, but
yeah, I don't know. It's just, I understand you take the risk, you get what you pay for and whatnot. I hope the people that can play it without many problems are enjoying it. I've heard that it's just a lot more of the same Borderlands, which is good. People like the Borderlands. I just don't care for the Epic Game Store. I don't care for Randy Pitchford, and I don't care for the kind of forced hype that people feel the need to have to play this in order to be successful.
Yeah, I've been asked if I'm gonna play it at any point, and I really feel like at this point, like, I don't think, even if I did want to play it down the road, I don't think that I could enjoy it as much just based on everything. Like, I think all of the bad has really tainted my view of the game, and I don't think I would give it a fair assessment, even if I did play it at some point.
Which I'm sure you will. Like, I guarantee next year during Christmas and whatnot, after it's on Steam and it goes on sale, you'll pick it up and play it.
Yeah, I mean,
just because you like Borderlands.
Yeah.
Currently, right now, there's about 650 people that are streaming this on Twitch.
650.
So
that's
it. That's pretty low.
People streaming, not watching. There's 100,000 people watching.
Yeah, but it still seems a little low for a game that just came out.
Yeah, I know, right? Look, WoW Classic has been sitting at 130,000 people.
Yeah, it's also 6th or 7th on the list too right now too.
Wow, really? That far down? Like, Borderlands should, like, what is this? The 15th? It's been 2 days. It should be almost 1 to 3. It should be 1 to 3.
What else? I guess, but this is also weekend time, so it depends on what else. Because Overwatch League is on right now. Is there League of Legends?
No,
Jesus.
it's over.
No.
I clicked the Twitch page, and geez, that's a loud autoplay.
Yeah.
The Apex Legends tournament ended this morning, right? So.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, Fortnite is number one.
WoW.
It's Fortnite, WoW.
WoW Classic.
Yeah, Fortnite, WoW, Overwatch, just chatting, and slots?
It's Borderlands 3 is down to 88,000 now. GTA is an old game. League is an old game. World of Warcraft is an old game. Like, 3 of the top 6 or 7 are old games that are still dominating. Overwatch has got its league going on. Fortnite, of course, it's going to be big still. Just chatting has definitely been popular, and slots, there must be somebody playing in League, and then GTA.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it to me, that is definitely indicative of how well it's doing with that kind of viewership, just 2 days after it releases.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, it's 650 people. And 2 of the top 3, I mean, the top 3 people that are on there, one is Ko, and he's sitting at 13,000 people watching him.
Yeah.
So like
so
you've got,
big bulk
so basically 60,000 probably the first 4.
He's he's big in the Borderlands community, so that's not surprising that he's sitting at number 1. But I mean, between those two, there's most of your views. 13.6K for Admiral
That's
Baru
25,000 between just 2 people. That means that the other 60 or 70 are split between.
It's those 2, and then it drops down to, because Ko is sitting at 12.7, and then the next person on the list, number 3, is sitting at 3.9. That's a significant
I would have
drop.
expected, it is. Holy crap, it drops pretty significantly, and then it just goes down to double digits.
Yeah.
After the first 2 rows. Yeah, I would have expected it to do. That's also kind of how I gauge success of games. Like Resident Evil 2 was sitting in the top 4 for 8 days when it first came out, because it was just unbelievably incredible, and everybody was loving the shit out of it, and people were buying it up like crazy after seeing it. So it just seems a little lackluster.
It was a good game.
Yeah, it was incredibly good.
I think Borderlands is also a niche market, though. I feel like there's more wide appeal for something like Resident Evil, because you'll have people that have never seen it before, but it's a scary game, theoretically.
But Borderlands should feel that looter shooter kind of gameplay that people are looking for. Yeah, like I said, it just feels lackluster.
Well, but part of that could be because you've got people that aren't going to buy the game on that current format.
Well, the few people I've seen stream it, they were several of them were talking about Borderlands 2 being the better one still.
Yeah, I mean, I could understand that. So sometimes games peak early. But
I really want to be hopeful for this game, and then just this whole year has just been kind of a shit show as far as everything surrounding it. And it doesn't seem like now that it's launched, it's going to get better. So.
Yes. Well, we have a few other articles that we can throw in here for the last little bit. Anthem we played earlier this year, and it's joined the EA Access, which is the for games that have been out for a while. They just stick them in the vault, and they're cheaper, and you get full access to the whole game. Which to me, it seems like a way to bolster Anthem numbers, to get more people, to have it easier access for people to play. And it even says in the article that they're still working on improving the game and updates and events, and still supporting the game. But this is a cheap way to make it so that more people have access to it.
The only thing that could save Anthem is something that, like what happened with Destiny, where it came out, it was super lackluster, they stumbled for a while, and they're like, oh man guys, we really got to get our stuff together and wow these people, and by the time that you got to like the second really big expansion, that second big expansion just knocked it out of the park and gave people what they were actually looking for. And so you had a lot of people come back to the game for that and then latch on and love it. Like, the community just grew exponentially after that drop off. It kind of helped it back out of a slump. That's what has to happen in order to save Anthem.
Which is what it even says. It needs a major relaunch if they want to win back its audience. Which, I mean, I would try it again. I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun, and I'd be willing to play it.
Yep.
But it's going to take it's going to take a lot to bring me back, because a lot needs to be fixed, and there's I will say that what killed me was the equipment thing from the difficulties. Like, I felt like once you hit 30, you lost all progression feeling of it. It just basically went whoop and then dropped straight off, and it's like, oh, that hurts.
Yeah.
It kind of felt like one big demo to me.
It really did. It's like, here's your story stuff, which it didn't take that long to get through the story stuff. But it really felt like this was just supposed to like be your skim of the surface to get you interested in it. But there was nothing under that surface. That's it. Like, that's all there was to it. And even the story wasn't that great. They had some interesting characters.
Opening a candy bar, and there's not with the wrapper, and there's nothing there. It's just
or there is, but it's like it's like opening a bag of chips. You're like, I've got this whole bag of chips. It's gonna be amazing. You open it, and there's like a quarter of the bag at the bottom, and the rest was just air.
I got a better analogy. It's like buying a thing of Reese cups. Like,
oh my God! Why are you trying to make me hungry? All three of you.
The king size of Reese cups, and there's only one in there instead of the 4, and you're like, why would you do this to me? I wanted 4.
The other 3 slots are just little pieces of styrofoam to keep it from sliding around.
Yeah.
Oh no, my heart.
They had, like, I'm serious. They had some really nice gems of potential in that game and in that story and in those characters. I mean, the gameplay feels good, but that's literally all there is to it. And that gets boring after a while because you don't have any sort of progress. It's just the constant repetitive grind of nothingness. And nobody wants that. Also, why did you screw around with Owen? BioWare.
Like your best character.
Yeah, like you spent a lot of time investing in this character and the story surrounding him, and by the time we got to the end, it's like, and here's our sort of resolution. It's not a real one, and whatever, we're done here. Okay, the game's over. Go home, everybody. I mean, don't go home. Keep grinding, because you need to get stuff for in-game content that we haven't created yet and probably never will, but you need it. Like, that was a is stupid. I'm done here. Also,
I think it was one of those things where they started off and they go, okay, A team, you're on this one. A team, we need you on this other game. B team, we know you fucked up last time, but we've got most of this taken care of. Go ahead and try it.
Well, but that was part of the problem, too, is it wasn't even the quality of the teams. It's that they kept shifting the teams. It's like, Team A, get in there. Team A, you're out. Team B, go in. Team B's like, what was A doing with this? They're like, we don't know, just figure it out. So they start trying to, like, Frankenstein things. And then B, you're out. C, get in there. C's like, what is going on? Why are there pieces that are purple and green stuck together? These don't go. What do we do? And they're like, figure it out. Make a game.
It was like, a lot of mismanagement on this thing, and not getting the right support to make it a good game, which it is what it is. It's done and over with. Now your best chance is to try to
learn
fix
from this,
it
but I really feel like it's gonna that kind of behavior happens a lot in a lot of studios. I don't think that's an isolated incident at all.
Yeah.
And with the mentality now, just like we were talking about with Borderlands and Gears, we could patch it after it comes out. Yeah, but can you patch out the bad, really? Because we aren't gonna forget that. Once you give us something, like there's no second chance at a first impression. So once you give us the first impression, it will forever taint whatever happens next. So remember that, companies. Don't be dumb.
So this next article, speaking of like getting a feel for a game over a small time frame, this one it makes me even more interested in, which is we got an hour demo of Death Stranding, which we've been talking about for a while. I really do feel like it's going to be very movie-esque style with some
I feel like it's going to be a walking
gameplay.
Simulator for a good chunk of it. And I don't know how that makes me feel. Like, I don't want to spend 16
gonna be
hours
FedEx
trying
traveling.
I don't want to spend 4 hours of the game doing nothing but walking with my packages and having to take pee breaks. Like,
So apparently when you load up your packages to travel from point A to point B, you have to mount them on your character in a specific way that makes it so that your center of balance is properly aligned, which your character actually has like a little circle under him, and then it'll be a highlighted circle that'll move based on how you're piled up, and you can put things everywhere to make sure that he's balanced properly while you travel. So when you do that, then it pulls up a whole huge topography of the whole map that you'll be walking, and you have to map out a trail that you're going to want to take. You know, you don't want to go up and over mountains or over rivers and things like that. You want to try to have it as flat and easy as possible, because while you're walking, apparently your shoes will wear out, so you've got to be careful about your footwear. You've got to be careful with how you travel through the mountains or whatever, or the rivers, and you can find new cargo from other people. You can lose your cargo. You have to leave it when you go to get into fights, so you have to set it down, and then you have to go back and pick it back up. Like, there is so many useless intricacies into this.
I know Kojima's weird and out there, but
why would anyone think this is fun?
Right? See, that's what I thought. You know what it made me think of? And this is probably just because it's one of my favorite movies ever. But close to the end of Labyrinth, she ends up in this trash heap with this little goblin lady who is carrying all of this trash on her back, but she can keep finding things to give to Sarah. And it's that. You are the trash lady now. You have to balance this like enormous amount of garbage on your back and then carry it. Yes! That's like when Chicken started telling me about it the first time, when we were just talking about it, that is the first thing that popped into my mind is, oh my god, he's the trash lady from Labyrinth.
That's crazy.
That's what it is.
Like, I don't understand this mentality.
That does not sound fun.
I still want to play it just because it's like almost like a morbid curiosity where it's like,
of the
why? Well, you're gonna spend 3 hours traveling and then have a 3-hour cutscene,
and don't forget,
then 3 hour
in those
traveling.
3-hour travels, you still have to take care of everything that you would for a normal person. Like, he's got to bathe, and he's got to eat, and he's got to poop, and stuff like that. Like, you gotta take a bath, and all of that. Like, that's...
You got to make sure that you keep your energy proper.
You
because
just are agreeing to a Norman Reedus Tamagotchi. That's what you have.
Hey, that's fine.
I play a lot of survival games, and I'm going to say...
Yes.
Survival games don't even make me pee and poop all of it. They just automatically do it. Have a nice day.
Yeah, I was about to say, Ark, you poop.
Yeah, but you did it
I mean, you
automatically.
could push the button if
Yeah,
you wanted
but
to.
it just falls out.
Yeah. You'd have to stop your life and go, okay, he's got to go to the bathroom or he might die.
But you know why? Because video games.
It's Kojima, man.
But no, the
Apparently,
thing,
if you
Kojima,
look-
the reason we do this way is because video games. We are trying to get away from real life, and you're trying to make us live another life inside of your narrative-based game.
Oh my god,
preparing
it's
us
Second
with-
Life, but with no
he's
fun
preparing
stuff.
us with, for like, when video games reach that point of like you just plug yourself in and then there you go.
I also
Yes.
saw a thing that if you're hanging out in your free time with your character and whatnot, and you look at his junk for so long, he'll punch the camera. Like who?
Yes, which I think is hilarious, by the way.
Who
Yeah, I
spends
think
that
that's
much
hilarious,
time
too.
looking at a digital crotch.
All I have to say is I can give credit to developers and producers and everything that think everything. Like who
Somebody's
are
gonna stare at this.
yeah, like 2 steps ahead of everybody else. I give a lot of credit for people like that. Somebody in there was like, you know that somebody's gonna try to stare at your junk. You know what? I bet. What if we make it so that if they stare for too long, you punch the camera? And Overreduce is like, yeah, I really like that.
Y'all are weird.
Well, I mean, in the original, like the Sonic games, if you just stood there forever, so Sonic would eventually just kill himself.
In Borderlands, they start making sarcastic remarks, especially Axon. I love his. He's like, oh, yeah, spent all this time in training so I could stand around. I'm like, dude, I'm checking the menu. Leave me alone. I know it's been 5
There
minutes.
are a few
but
other
God.
games that could do that too, that are like, I know Conker from Conker's Bad Fur Day. If you stand around for so long, he starts looking at his clock and he's like, "Yep, do. Just
Not
waiting."
Borderlands, Fallout 4. If you're in a conversation, it'll let you have time to think about what you want to say. But if you kind of zone out, they'll be like, "So, you all right there? You okay?" Like, shut up! I'm picking a choice. I don't know what to
Mario
say to
fell
you.
asleep, right? Mario 64, he fell asleep.
Yeah.
I
He
I feel
kinda-
like there was another game that had the character fall asleep too.
Yeah.
Oh, in Paper Mario 64, if you stop moving for so long, he falls asleep like this and then gets a giant snot bubble and then waits, and then when you move, he pops up and shakes his head and then he's ready to go.
That's funny.
It's hilarious.
I mean, those are nice touches. I just think it's weird that somebody is gonna possibly stare at junk for that long.
Well, but it's also one of those where you're like, not only that, but it's like, are you going to stare at junk that long? Are you going to have to... Who takes a backpack and goes, hey, it has to be put together just a certain way in order to be able to travel? It's going to take you 45 minutes to get your backpack right to take a 4-hour journey. You know what I
In which
mean?
you'll be mostly walking by yourself.
How much is your... How long is your gameplay? Well, it's...
What?
Wouldn't it?
and your BB.
Your baby. Your creepy baby.
I forgot. It's like I forgot what it's called. It's something baby.
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called either. Are you sure it's B?
Yes.
Border baby? Bag baby? Bottle baby. Ew.
Let me find out. real quick.
Baby bottle pop.
Too funny.
Gross.
Gross.
Bridge baby.
Bridge. That's what it
Oh,
was.
that's right.
It's a bridge baby.
It's a bridge between worlds, right?
Yes, I think so.
That's the concept.
It's what tells you when the things are nearby. Whatever the
That's
things
right.
are.
Well, I mentioned the Fallout thing. You guys want to talk about Fallout 76 being in the news again?
All right, let's
Okay.
tear into Bethesda again because Jesus, how do you just like? Is there nobody in this fucking company that is like, hey guys, we should not do this because we've already stated this. We should add it into the game first.
There are people that are saying that, just the higher ups aren't listening.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Probably.
apparently. Like, what the fuck? So Fallout 76 came out with a new update, okay? And they added 2 new items into the store.
The real money store.
Yeah, the real money store. One is the scavenger collection station, which if you set it up near camp, it will go out around and pick up scraps and simple items. Cool. It makes life a little easier. And then the second one is a stainless steel refrigerator, which increases the spoil rate by your stored food and drink by 50%. So it lasts a whole lot longer, which is a long fucking time. But you can't earn those in game. You can only fucking buy them. And they've already stated that they will not put anything in the store that you cannot get in the game. When the repair kits came out last time.
It's because we were done being mad at them for a little bit. So
yeah, I guess they figured everybody forgot about that.
Yep. Like, if this was 2 years from now, I totally agree with that. but it's too recent.
It's like 6 months maybe.
Well, their game's been out what, a year? Did it come out last?
Yeah,
last
it
fall?
came out last November.
Yeah.
So it's
been almost a year. Guys, like, we've forgotten about the fact that you have one of the worst launches in the history of video games recently. And like, both the game sucked and everything that you had going on with it sucked. And
don't forget the canvas bags. They sucked.
Yeah, about to say, not to mention the fact that people that paid for a bag got the wrong bag sent to them. Luckily, you made up for that.
But it's
had
like, okay, we bring in the collector's edition with the helmet and everything to sell to us, and it had the bag in there unopened, but it wasn't the canvas one. It was that crappy one.
The nylon.
Oh,
one?
I bet somebody would like pay a lot of money for that too. But like, I want that shitty one. I want to have that in its bag. I want to yell at Bethesda because I have the wrong bag.
Well, and part of why the stuff specifically with the 2 items they just released, one, people have issues with how much the fridge costs, because it's gonna cost you about $6. And then the fact that it was a fan idea that they turned into a pay store item feels pretty icky, really.
Yeah, because I'm sure that guy who came up with that idea
came
was
up
like,
with. And then they passed it along, and the fans were like, yeah, this would be so great, this would be awesome. But Bethesda's like, sure, we listen to our people. Okay, give us more money for it. Thanks for coming up with the idea.
Do you think it was one of those things where they thought, like, their thought process was, okay, we'll do it, but we're going to charge you for it. But nobody thought, hey, this is giving somebody an advantage, you dumbass, and our community created this, dumbass.
Yeah. Oh,
you know, like, rough. It was almost like they were thinking it was a commission. You know, right? It was like commissioned for them.
Oh shit. Man, it's just rough. Well, we'll end the show on a lighter note.
It'll work.
Well, we've got a new.
We got two. Yeah, we got two here that are nice.
Don't worry, I've got a nice segue into the last.
Oh, this ought to be good.
Carry on.
Okay, so for the last article, they're coming out with a new dating sim, and it's called "I Love You, Colonel Sanders." Finger licking good dating sim.
Oh,
okay, first
so
of all,
gross.
it's an anime style KFC dating sim, which I find super weird. But I don't know. What do you think? You gonna buy it?
No.
Is
Well, here's the thing: is you got. Hold on. We're gonna sell this for a moment, okay?
Okay,
right.
do it. Sell it.
It's not about dating. It's not about dating Colonel Sanders necessarily. You've got 9 lovable characters, okay? 9 lovable characters.
Yeah, but your
multiple
idea
hours of
behind the
playthrough
game is to date Colonel Sanders and be his business partner.
So yeah, he's dateable, Colonel Sanders. Sure, he doesn't look like the regular Colonel Sanders we got on there. He's anime version of Colonel Sanders. Yeah. He's a good-looking dude. He's just having the white hair and a little white goatee.
Would it be better if it was an anime Donald Trump? You still wouldn't want to date that. Doesn't make
okay,
sense.
first of
because
all, I don't
know this is Colonel Sanders.
I don't think Colonel Sanders and the president are anywhere near the same.
And to be fair, if I had a choice, I'm going Colonel Sanders on this.
Yeah, I'm gonna swing Colonel Sanders too.
All right. It has a secret ending that they told us there's a secret ending. Shh.
It's R-rated.
There's secret recipes.
Ew.
Huh?
I don't want to know what's in the recipes. It's a dating
It's
sim.
11
There's
herbs
cooking
and
battles. What's not to like about a cooking battle? There's battles, whatever the fuck that means. Okay.
I just read some of the things in the comments.
You can earn a degree from fictional culinary school. There's 11 herbs and spices. They're using their own taglines inside this. Okay, just so you know, there's cute miniature food, and it was officially created by KFC. So there you have it. It's an actual KFC game.
Which came first, the chicken or the Colonel?
The chicken. That was easy.
Oh my god.
That's one of the things in the comment. I'm just.
But here's the thing: is you have this? It's a horrible title, okay? Finger licking good, but it is one of their taglines that they've used in the past, so they're using that. I just am sad that it's not a TV show. That's my whole thing. I realize there's TV shows but I'm sad that it's not this one.
The actual fun part of this, like not the dating sim. Let's move over to something else in Japan.
Colonel Sanders.
Okay, so first of all, I don't think this game will do super well here in the West, but I do have a strong suspicion that it's going to do pretty damn well in Japan because they hold KFC to a much higher regard than us. So I could definitely see it selling pretty well over there.
And look at your entire style of the game too. This screams
it's
Japan.
Super anime style. Which, speaking of Japan, that'll leave us into the last article we have, which Universal Studios is finally set to open the Nintendo theme park in Japan next spring. Which I am super excited. I hope it does super well. I hope they expand it, and I want them to bring it to our Universal Studios. Because I've been watching them. We've been listening to them talk about this for years. And so I guess magnetic wristbands that can interact with rides and games around the environment and rack up scores. So it's like an interactive park.
Which Disney has stuff similar to that. So does Universal's with the wands at Universal. Stuff like that. But what I find interesting is there's a point system.
Yes.
So because let me tell you right now, if we all go into Japan, I'm winning, bitches. That's all I'm telling you at the end of the day.
I would like to see you try.
Because you got to think about it. Look how competitive. Think of how competitive it would be. You get Westerners that are over there. Like I've only dealt with Westerners when it comes to playing video games, but we're pretty competitive on stuff. So I don't know how the Japanese are with that, but I feel like that they would be trying to beat their friends too.
Points. I'm just gonna take my walking stick and trip you.
That's if they let you have your walking stick there.
True.
I don't know.
I don't know. He just keeps running over it.
But yeah, there's only going to be 2 rides based on Super Mario Kart and Yoshi. Haha, Baka. And that will be in as part of the Phase 1 on opening day, which makes me excited because they said Phase 1.
Which means there's multiple phases.
Yeah. They're probably like, okay, it's doing pretty well. Let's go ahead and work on the second one or the third one, and we'll get to expand this park until... Because, first of all, there are so much you could do with a Super Nintendo World. Like, so much
they
content.
Could have, like a mini roller coaster, but all the coasters are bullet bill.
Oh, cute!
Yes. That would be super neat.
That could actually be just a kid ride, even. You know what I mean? Like, just like the simple, like this small version of
like a fun coaster.
And you could almost make it go through the middle of one of their other worlds that they've created that the adults go onto.
If they have tunnels or whatnot, they could put hollow coin blocks and whatnot. If you raise your hands and hit the coin block with your wristband, you get coins.
You'd have to be careful about that. Those would have to be like digital so that nobody actually.
Yeah, that's why I said
they'd have to be.
That's
like
why I said holograms.
Yeah, holograms.
Okay. You said hollow.
Yeah,
so
sorry.
I thought you meant like it's
no.
hollowed out, so that way you go.
I meant holograms, like they just kind of are, holograms right up there where you can kind of reach and slap your hand through, and your wristband counts it, and you get coins. You get coins for it. Like, I mean, there's so many things you could do with Super Nintendo World.
You're so
I really want to go.
You sound like a kid. It's adorable.
It's so funny
if I
right
went
now.
there, I would definitely be a kid.
Adorable.
I guarantee everybody that would go to Super Nintendo World would be a kid. They'd be like, "Oh my god!"
That's the whole point, though.
Exactly.
I mean, it's the same thing when you. I mean,
kids.
any of the theme parks, if they're designed correctly, that's the idea, right? Is for you to feel that way. I mean, like.
Well, to be fair, I think like Harry Potter seems like it's got a more mature feel to it, where you can kind of enjoy the world and you kind of get into the fantasy
I feel like
and whatnot.
I agree with that, but what I think is we become the kid because we're going, oh, I gotta go on the ride, I gotta check out the Harry Potter stuff, versus I'm not into that at all. I don't know what you're talking about because I'm an adult. Yeah, we don't do that. We go. Oh my god, I have a butter beer. I gotta have that. You know what I mean? I get to eat 3 broomsticks. That's fantastic. I gotta buy a wand. You know, so that's the whole reason we do those. Too funny. What else we got?
I think that's it.
Yeah, that's it. That's
Which is surprising. Like, we finally had a longer show because there was actually things to talk about.
I know.
Instead of
Finally.
just a bunch of filler crap. Filler's fun though. Nice to have a break every now and then from real world drama, I guess.
For sure. So you can just have real world drama inside of Death Stranding, you know.
Please no.
That'll be next.
Please no.
No, you just walk 2 hours away from where you started. You got a phone call. You got to walk back.
No.
They canceled their order. I hate you.
Kojima comes out with an online game, Kojima's World.
Please no. It's a dating
Kojima's
sim.
World.
You're going to date him or Mads Mikkelsen or Norman Reedus or
Oh, it's sold.
Del Toro.
Too funny. We appreciate everybody hanging out with us each and every week and Infinite Respawn. As always, you can check us out on Twitter at InfiniteResPC. You can check me out personally at MDB Oaktree. Check out Grif.
At Grif Slynam.
Check out Chicken.
At Elite Chicken 313.
Check out Baka.
Baka Pickle.
Also, make sure you go to Grif's YouTube channel where she's currently playing through Red Dead Redemption 2. She just, you had 3 that came out this past week? 2?
Yeah, it should be every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So
yeah, so yeah, she's back at it, folks.
Yeah.
Slowly. Make sure you check that out.
Hey, it's
Slowly.
going. It's going. We've got some crazy stuff happening. We're on the crazy side of things now. As if things were not crazy enough beforehand. We're now into the real out there parts.
The real crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Also, make sure you go to twitch.tv/Elite Chicken 313. Chicken, what you got this week?
Oh, I wonder what I'm playing this week.
Warcraft.
Wow.
There could be a chance. That's why I asked.
Yeah, it'd be like there's a 5% chance of rain all week.
We'll never
Still
see
probably
it.
not gonna happen.
Still a chance, man. Still a chance. Also, make sure that you go to mixer.com/MDB Oaktree where you can check me out this week, where I'll be playing through some more Greedfall as well as probably some Sea of Thieves, of course. There's 1-on-1 and some Minecraft. Strangely enough, I only played it for 6.5 hours the other night, and the thunderstorm scared the shit out of me. But other than that, I'm good to go. Thunderstorms are so loud in that game. Anyway, for Infinite Respawn, I'm Oaktree.
I'm Grif.
I'm Chicken.
Baka.
Bye.
Bye.
See you.